Hey there, are you grieving the potential loss of a loved one or feeling overwhelmed with the loss of someone you care about? If so, you're in the right place. Lisa Hartung here, and this podcast is designed to guide you through topics surrounding death and dying. We'll dive into multifaceted aspects of grief, offering you a blend of personal stories, expert insights, and practical advice for your grief journey. May this be a safe space for you to learn, listen, and ask questions about your own life and loved ones. So grab your favorite beverage and let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of Giving Grief Grace. I hope that you are having a wonderful day, and if not, I thank you for coming, and I hope that this gives you something to think about and something to ponder. Today has been interesting. I don't know if you experienced this, but once we pass the summer solstice and the days start getting shorter, even though the sun is out and it's so bright and cheery, I all of a sudden feel this like deep pull to the changing seasons already. And they always say Christmas in July. And I'm like, okay, let's get out the Hallmark movies and let's cuddle up. And I will tell you, my husband got a new coffee machine and I found out that it also makes special steamed milk. So I had a lot of hot chocolate in the past week because hot chocolate makes you feel better when you're feeling sad. And two, because it was delicious. And who doesn't love hot chocolate with steamed milk? Oh my goodness, what a gift. So today I'm feeling a little sad and nostalgic because you know how when you have a social media account, but Facebook really will remind you of days in which that happened before, and how many years ago, and 19 years ago this happened, and 10 years ago this happened, and 4 years ago this happened. And so today I got a reminder that 4 years ago my mom and I were out adventuring, exploring Maine. We had gone to an appointment in the morning. I had the day off of work. We had eaten ice cream for lunch, which happened quite a bit with the two of us. And then we spent the afternoon shopping, which was also pretty common with the two of us. And in that particular day, we were shopping for plants to put in Mom's garden because she was such a gardener. And so I saw that post and it just made me cry. It made me realize how much I miss her, and how you don't get to experience those you don't get to live those experiences again. They're wonderful memories, but they're memories, and I'm grateful for photos that we have, and I wish I had taken more videos in her final days. But I just wanted to say that because if you're also experiencing that, know that yeah, it can be triggering when you see those, but also such a gift, right? That you have that time with your loved one, and that Facebook reminds you, hey, when the going gets tough, you still had really nice experiences together. And and reminds you of them. And I think that's something that I do this with photos as well, of looking back. And I have an iPhone, and so the photos remind you, as on certain birthdays, if you have the person's birthday account on your calendar, it will send you a little reel of their photos of them from their birthday. And I just think, oh my gosh, how fun is that? These are people that are in your contacts that are close to you, that Apple has identified. Those are your friends. And so it's just fun to go back through and see those photo montages of all of the wonderful experiences and adventures that you've had with your loved ones. And so, yeah, oof, it's a tough one. So I came on to share with you, when I am feeling sad, these are some things that I do. And if you are thinking about, gosh, how do I move through this grief? How do I deal with it in a productive way? One way is to get outside. And one of my favorite grounding things that I do, is I read an excerpt from Journey to the Heart by Melody Beattie. And I think I've shared with you before about this, but I wanted to read today's little outline because I think it's important. So this is from page 215 of Melody Beattie's Journey to the Heart book. And I'm going to read this to you. It's a little long, but I just love her writing because it's so thought-provoking. So, the title of this little excerpt is What is Your Handicap? What is your handicap? The golfer asked his partner. My childhood, said his companion. Some handicaps are physical, certain limitations placed on our bodies. Other handicaps are emotional, burdens of heartache from sad or abusive childhoods. Others may be dealing with current issues, perhaps facing a terminal illness or grieving an irreparable loss. After losing my son, I found myself at a point where I simply could no longer stand the agony of waiting for my pain to disappear. I knew that all my life I would miss him, and I became absolutely despondent. There is no way out of this, I thought. I'm spending my life waiting for this pain to disappear so I can begin living my life again. But the pain will never disappear, and I'll never begin living my life again. That's when a gentle idea began to change my life. I began to understand that I was living and working with a handicap. The loss would always be there. The pain and heartache would always be present. I could accept that, treat it as a handicap, and within that framework, go ahead and live my life once more. The moment I made that decision, my attitude and perspective changed. I was able to go on, able to move forward. Many of us are living with handicaps. Some will change over time, but others won't. If that's the case, stop waiting for your handicap to disappear. Instead, decide to live with it, work around it. Treat yourself with care, with gentleness. Allow yourself to feel and experience all the limitations and emotions of your present situation. Accept them. Let them be part of you, part of your experience. And the mantra she leaves us with is, despite living with a handicap, go ahead and treat yourself to life. Whew. So, what is your handicap? And I think that oftentimes it is true. We can be so overwhelmed with grief and saying, when can I quote unquote get over it? And we don't get over it. We just learn to live with it. And what would your loved one want you to be doing? How would your mom want you to be showing up? She loved you for who you are and also understands that after her death, you're changing. You're someone different. You are a completely different person and you're living your life now in a world that she no longer lives in. And so how do you live with grief and work around it? And I think of that and I think, okay, how do I choose joy? How do I add whimsy to my life? How can you spread love? And spread kindness like confetti because that's just fun. And right, how can you honor your loved one? What is one way today that you can honor your loved one? Sometimes fear can be a handicap. Fear of the unknown, fear of what does my life look like now that my mom's gone? I don't know. Now I have to be the magic maker. Now I have to be, like you have to be the one that holds the family together and you have to be the glue. And gosh, that seems like a lot sometimes. Then you think about, well, what would your mom want you to be today? And when you think about what you're doing, think about how she would say, I'm proud of you for. You're my baby because. Go get him. You're a rock star. Keep going. You've got this. I don't want your handicap to hold you back. Another way to move through my personal handicap, right, is just really struggling with grief. One thing that I do, or a ritual that I do, is I go to my tarot deck and I pull a card. I grew up going to church. I'm confirmed in the church. I would say faith has always been a part of my grounded spirituality. But I wouldn't say I'm like so devoted to church and I go every Sunday and I read the scriptures, and I don't as much feel connected with the scriptures, but I do feel connected with a higher being and with this unending love. To me, it's like a mother's love. She will always love you for who you are, regardless of what you do in life. And so I feel this motherly love all the time. And maybe that's God or whatever you want to call that higher being or your ancestors on the other side. And so I call in as I'm shuffling through the cards. I think, okay, well, I'm trying to look for answers or what do I do? And my husband and I are in a bit of transition of thinking about what's next on a career path and what does that look like for us and how do we make all of the pieces stick together. I pulled a card. So the tarot deck that I use is Joanna Powell Colbert's. It's a Gaian tarot deck. It's here. Oh, you can hear it moving around. It's called Healing the Earth, Healing Ourselves. And so this deck is one that mom picked out when she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And so we would pull a card every day as kind of an intention setting of the day. And so that was a ritual we had together. And now, after her passing, this is something that I do to kind of call my mom in, and again, feeling that motherly love. So today I pulled a card, and oh my goodness, this is the most beautiful card. It's the Child of Air, and it's this little girl surrounded with beautiful butterflies. And when I think of my mom coming back, signs of my mom, I think of her as a winged creature. And oftentimes I think of her as a dragonfly, but also it's so delightful to see butterflies as well. And so the word of the day from the Child of Air. So again, this is Joanna Powell Colbert's writing, and this is page 136 of her Gaian tarot deck. So the Child of Air gazes at a swallowtail butterfly that alights on her hand as butterflies take flight in a spiral around her. She can feel the trembling of delicate wings and wonders if it's really a fairy disguised as a butterfly. Perhaps, like the Zen master Chung Tzu, she asks, am I a person dreaming that I'm a butterfly? Or am I a butterfly who dreams I am a person? Mm. So it says when you get this card in a reading, the Child of Air brings fresh insight to old situations in a lighthearted or whimsical way. Someone is very curious and may begin a new course of study or explore new points of view. She is a sponge for soaking up new information, and her mind is sharp, alert, alive. She's discovered the secret of staying in the present moment, or perhaps it has discovered her. As I read that, I have goosebumps because I think that's one thing in grief. When you are caring for your loved one who's in their final chapter, you hang on to those moments and you become very present. The phone is no longer, other people are no longer. It's all about you connecting with that individual, sharing stories, sharing the fun time, sharing music, sharing rituals. So, wow. Yeah, let's be fully present. One thing that was unique is I received this card upside down. So that's the shadow side. It says, when you read the shadow side of this card, someone is afraid to explore new ideas or make changes, perhaps because of critical voices. It's time to banish negative voices and replace them with positive attitudes and affirmations. Let the imagination soar. If we can envision it, we can be it. And the affirmation is, I learn new things by keeping an open mind. So I thought I would share that with you today and think about how you can learn new things. How can you keep an open mind? How can you be fully present? And you can still be a butterfly flying around, but know that you can feel that maternal love giving you a hug, washing over you. She's watching you. She's proud of you. She loves who you are today. She wants the best for you and for life ahead. So when we think about our handicap, how can we learn to live with it and move forth with it and envelop it as part of us, right? It's a new part of our identity. We are not the same person we were before she died. And we are not the same person we were when she died. And we've been kind of rediscovering who we are after her death. And so that's a journey that we are all on. But know that I'm thinking of you. And if you're struggling or if you're interested in getting a card, I would love to pull a card for you and your loved one. I always think it's so fascinating as I think about the person who has messaged me to say, hey, Lisa, can you pull a tarot card for me? I am not an official tarot reader, but I love pulling cards for people because I think that we can always take something away from an experience. So that's just something I wanted to leave you with, and think about that as you go through the day. And I will leave you with one more poem that came to me in a writing class, and gosh, it was so meaningful. And I want to leave you with this poem today, and it's called What Will Matter by Michael Josephson. Ready or not, someday it will all come to an end. There will be no more sunrises, no minutes, hours, or days. All the things you collected, whether treasured or forgotten, will pass to someone else. Your wealth, fame, and temporal power will shrivel to irrelevance. It will not matter what you owned or what you were owed. Your grudges, resentments, frustrations, and jealousies will finally disappear. So too your hopes, ambitions, plans, and to-do lists will expire. The wins and losses that once seemed so important will fade away. It won't matter where you came from or what side of the tracks you lived on at the end. It won't matter whether you were beautiful or brilliant. Even your gender and skin color will be irrelevant. So what will matter? How will the value of your days be measured? What will matter is not what you bought, but what you built, not what you got, but what you gave. What will matter is not your success, but your significance. What will matter is not what you learned, but what you taught. What will matter is every act of integrity, compassion, courage, or sacrifice that enriched, empowered, or encouraged others to emulate your example. What will matter is not your competence, but your character. What will matter is not how many people you knew, but how many will feel a lasting loss when you're gone. What will matter is not your memories, but the memories of those who loved you. What will matter is how long you will be remembered, by whom and for what. Living a life that matters doesn't happen by accident. It's not a matter of circumstance, but of choice. Choose to live a life that matters. Don't let your handicap overcome who you can be and who you will be. Choose presence. Choose joy. Life is beautiful and there is so much love, and she would want you to spread your love, to share in memories, to make memories, and to keep on living. You've got this. Sending so much love and gratitude to you. And I hope you have a beautiful week ahead. Thank you for tuning in, and please share this with someone if it would help them in their season of grief. Love to all. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Giving Grief Grace. It would be such a gift if you could share this episode with someone and brighten their day. You never know what will happen. Subscribe to get a weekly dose of positivity, and while you're at it, please leave a review. May you be kind to yourself in the week ahead and give yourself grace. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.